Welcome to our Off Grid Homestead. I'm Savannah.
And I'm Casey. And we're going to be giving you a tour of our property and our tiny home that started out as a shed.
And we're going to be sharing some of our most controversial decisions.
When we first moved here, other than microorganisms and wildlife, there was nothing. There was bare soil and trees. And so everything you see, we have built from scratch.
There was an area sort of cleared, but the people who owned this before us abandoned that project and you could barely walk on the land.
Also, if you've been watching us for a while and you've seen some of our tours in the past, we will be showing things we have never shown before. So stay tuned.
Let's head to the house. So this is our tiny home, and it started out as a shell. There was literally nothing in there but like 2x4s and the siding. It's a 12 by 32 foot building, which means on the inside it ends up being about 350 square feet. And you're probably gonna wonder where our bathroom is, so you're gonna have to stay tuned for later in the tour for more about that. Let's go inside.
Here is our tiny kitchen, which many people have commented is larger than the kitchen they have in their apartment. So we definitely prioritize our kitchen space, and I'll show you around. Our gas stove over here. This is just a tiny toaster oven, but it's like a extra large toaster oven. We have a big drawer of storage here, and all of our kick plates are drawers, so that is very nice. When you have so little space, you need a lot of storage. This bar here is a copper pipe, like you can get at a plumbing section, and these are bell hangers that they're attached to, and it was a very inexpensive hanging rack. You can buy these for like $1 bajillion, but this was a very nice DIY. And I love it. It's like one of my favorite features in our kitchen. We kind of change what we hang on here, but it's a great storage solution. These shelves we put up, this is wood that we had milled from our property. This is also kind of ever changing. I move all of this around. We've had a lot of questions about this coffee maker. It is linked in the description box below, as it's very cool. Our kitchen sink. We have a video of when we made this. We also added another one of those copper rails up here because we have a lot of pots and pans and didn't have a place to put them. Another favorite is our baskets hanging up here, which we do store a lot of stuff in. We probably don't need this many baskets at this point, but we do use them a lot for various things. The most controversial thing in our entire house is this wallpaper. You love it or you hate it, and you don't need to tell me. I will be fine if you don't like it. That is okay. Also, another controversial decision was we kept this painted white. Some people thought it should be painted blue, the color of the cabinets. We explored all options. It is white for now. This is where our microwave is. And it does have some ventilation in the back, and it's the only place for it. And then we have another drawer right there. Tied with the cabinet up here in controversy is our dishwasher. I almost forgot to tell you. Well, that's not controversial, but this curtain over it is. It really doesn't bother us. I usually will go like this. I'll flip it up like there and get into my tiny dishwasher. You couldn't pay me enough to not have it, or to not have this curtain. I love it because it's not particularly cute, and this curtain is. So it's a countertop dishwasher that is actually meant to sit on your countertop. Most people, they hook them up in like apartments and they go attached to your water faucet, but we rigged it up so that it could just constantly hooked up and hidden under the counter. This island is also wood that we milled. It actually needs to be restained and all of that. And our countertops are just maple plywood. That was always a temporary solution. All of the cabinetry in here, Savannah built. It is like made by 2x4s, and she face framed it and put cabinet doors. But it looks more expensive than it was. And the last part of our kitchen is this pantry. I'm not going to show you inside. It's a little messy right now. But inside the pantry, I'll show you this. We have drawers. These are pretty neat and organized. And just more storage up there. The theme of our kitchen is shoving storage wherever we can. We do a lot of cooking and preserving and baking things from scratch. That uses a lot of materials. So we have to be creative with how we put things. I think we've done a very good job with our space. One of the things that we love to do in this kitchen is to bake. And we don't always have time to bake everything from scratch. Finding gluten-free bread in the store that actually tastes good is nearly impossible. That's why I was excited to try Wild Grain's gluten-free box, because it finally feels like a real bakery experience at home. Wild Grain is a monthly baked good box sent straight to your door. And if you aren't gluten-free, they have gluten-full options too. They use a slow fermentation process with simple ingredients, so everything is easy on your stomach and packed with nutrients and antioxidants. Our box came with sourdough bread, cookies, pasta, and waffles. It feels like such a treat to have options that taste amazing instead of dry and bland, which is so common with many store-bought baked goods. Most items go straight from the freezer to the table in about 25 minutes. No prep, no mess, just fresh baked bread and pastries whenever I want them. Every box supports small bakeries across the country, and for every order, Wild Grain donates 2 meals to nonprofits. If you want to check out Wild Grain for yourself, click my link in the description box below and use my code HeyWanderer. You'll get $30 off your first box, plus free croissants for life or cookies if you're gluten-free.
So right next to our pantry, we have our wood stove, which we have not been using, obviously, because it's been summer. So probably in the next month, we will be getting back to wood stove season, which means that this will also be flipped over. So this actually I built for wood storage in the house, and over the fall and winter, it's just getting filled with wood like every other day. But in the summer, we don't have the wood in here, so we bought these baskets to organize some things. This is like bug control, which in the winter, we don't really need that in here. And then this is Hazel's box and just like some miscellaneous things that are gonna have to find a home when we have to put wood in there. Because basically only about 4 months out of the year are we putting wood in here. And then it just doesn't make sense to leave it in there all year. And we just need a lot of like the bug sprays and things we used to just have everywhere. And it just makes it easier to use this for things we need in the 8 months that we're not doing fires. So this is the front door where you came in earlier, and right beside that we have this tiny little entryway. Basically it's like a little bench with storage down there, which we always need more storage, so it's nice to put that in. And then you can sit here if you want to like put your shoes on. It's extra seating if somebody is visiting. And then we have this shelf that we made from wood, that same wood that we had milled on our property. And you can tell by looking at the shelf that when you like really sand it and seal it really good, it looks very nice. So we need to, you know, do that in other places of the house, but it's just a good place. It's where we put our purses, Hazel's things for going out. And it's just made it a lot more organized because again, for a big portion of living here, all of this stuff was just like in random places on the floor, making a mess. So it just makes it a little tidier. So that section is tied into our bookshelves. We just made this short little door here so that we could have that more storage area. We built all this last fall. We just decorated it for Halloween. So we've pulled out a lot of our spooky decorations to put on there. Those are witch hats if you couldn't tell. Basically, we have all of our books out here. It's a very good space because it makes it feel more homey, where this building has not necessarily felt like that all the time. This was the first thing we did that just felt like we could put our taste, our decoration vibes into this house. And yeah, so a lot of the stuff we had before we even moved here. But the most interesting part is this little thing right here. Whoa, leave it like that. This is our hidden TV shelf. Obviously, you could see that it operates as a real shelf, but then our TV is hidden behind it. It turns so that you can see it from the couch over there. It is probably my favorite DIY because it was super, we had to be really creative to figure this out. It was kind of a pain. And I remember hanging that up and me and Casey both just wanted to scream because it was such a problem. But now that it's done, it's really great because I do not love the look of a TV. I don't know that anybody really does. Some people just don't mind it as much, but I kind of hate this black square or rectangle being on the wall. So being able to hide it. And then also we don't really have a good place for it to go anyway. You know, we'd have to put it here and not have a place to hang our stuff if it wasn't hidden. And I also was very adamant about not using this much space in our bookshelf to put the TV there with like a frame on it so that looks like artwork. I just was like, we need those two shelves. So let me put it back up. There's also a sound bar in here. So we do have two usable shelves in front of it. Right here is where our couch is. So this is the couch and you are where the TV is now. This door needs so much help, but this ultimately is not going to be here because this is how you will get to the bathroom addition. But for now, this is what it looks like. And we did this little vignette on video, another video that we did. And we have these new lamps that move around and they're really good because it's pretty dark in here. We have an overhead light that has a lamp, a fan, and that's just like not the nicest light. It doesn't, well, and it also just doesn't help if you want to like read a magazine or a book. So on each side of the couch, we have one of these lamps that just moves around and you can move it over so you can read something, but then it also folds back out of your way. And those have been really nice to have.
Behind this door is where two adult women share a bedroom.
Oh my God.
That is also wildly controversial.
Not as controversial as anybody makes it sound.
It is not controversial, but anyway, come, please. This is where I sleep. This is where Savannah sleeps. Very separately, very platonically. There are stairs that need Jesus, that lead to the top bunk.
Missing.
Yeah, missing a face. Our room is definitely the least finished part of our house. And honestly, like such a low priority. We still don't have an indoor bathroom or some other major things. And this room functions, so I don't care about that half of the drywall is showing. This is our shared closet, and the number one reason why I don't want to share a bedroom as an adult woman, I want this all to myself. And one day that will happen. Okay. So like this is Savannah's portion. We share this top main drawer, but these are hers. But I have, this is all mine, and this is all mine, and then this is all mine. Well, one of these baskets is Savannah's, and one of them is mine.
And two of those are towels.
And then two of the bottom ones are towels. Yeah, it's pretty evenly based. I just have more hanging storage than Savannah, and she has more drawers. And I would rather hang up my underwear if I could. You know, I hate folding and putting things away. I would hang up my socks, seriously. There's just not room. Our desk, which is mostly used as a vanity, will be nice when we have our bathroom, and we'll have 2 places so we can when we get ready at the same time, we'll each have a place to sit. Just sacrifices of tiny living. Lots of storage in here. It's a little rough around the edges, but very functional. Oh, importantly, these stairs all open up, and like Savannah's, this is mine. Oh, yeah, you got it. My shoes. This bottom one goes like into the desk. It's the bottom one is the longest, and it goes out. And of all the things that need the most work, it's really the stairs. The top priority. But it's not, because we got a bathroom.
They work.
But they work. And storage. And under the bed, I'm not going to show you that, but it is floor to ceiling high under there. We have a lot of stuff for living in a tiny house, I'm not going to lie. We have a full shed and a storage unit somewhere else. Also, so we check ourselves out. We actually haven't had a full-length mirror for most of the time we lived here. And man, that was amazing. I am a big believer in a full-length mirror, and we went many years without one. Before we get much further, I wanted to stop and talk about our beautiful hydrangeas. We actually get a lot of questions about what these are. The variety is called Little Lime Punch. Earlier in the season, they are like a cream and dark pink burgundy color, and their color will start to deepen. They are pretty late to bloom here, but they are beautiful, and they're actually a lot bigger than they're supposed to be. But hydrangeas are allegedly very needy plants. I don't do anything to them, so I guess I got good luck.
Let's go to the garden. Blair is going to not join me. This is the orchard behind me. It is pretty sad right now because it really shines in the springtime. We have some flowering blackberries still. We may have one more round of blackberries before the first frost. We have apples, pears, and peaches in here. We also have blackberries, and we have blueberries. And something exciting that Casey just found yesterday or the day before, this is one of our fig trees. We've planted these the first year we were here. And literally this year I've been like, will these ever make figs? I don't know, but look at this.
Our first fig.
One little fig. I again don't know if that fig is gonna make it before our first frost, but these are hardy figs, so they die back to the ground every year, and then all of this is new growth from this year. So I've been kind of not sure if it would fruit at all if there's enough time. Clearly it can do it. So we'll see if next year it maybe has a whole crop of them. I don't know. At the back of our garden is our greenhouse. And if you've been around for a while, you saw us build these garden beds and plant them. They are insane. This is African basil. You can see a million bees flying all over this. They've kind of taken over the basil, and we've wanted to take it out, but if you see all the bees on there, you're just like, I have to leave it. So in our greenhouse, these are tomatoes. This garden bed right here is just full of tomatoes. We've basically gotten all the tomatoes that we want / need for the year, because we're just kind of like, well, I can't take care of tomatoes anymore. But they're still growing, and like there's a Roma tomato back here that has a bunch of tomatoes that are green. This one's, ripe, but there's also a cherry tomato back there that's got a lot of cherry tomatoes, and gosh, this one has a bunch of green tomatoes too. But anyway, these have done, I would say, pretty well in the greenhouse. Better than we've had outside. And then we have 2 tables in the middle where we start all our seeds, which there's just stuff all over it right now. And our solar panels right here are what keep the pump going when we need it, which the cats love to sit on. It doesn't seem like much, but the water pump doesn't need a lot of electricity, and we only use it like, I mean, we're not even using it right now because we're not trying to keep these tomatoes alive. Clearly they don't care. The other side of the greenhouse also has this same garden bed. We just haven't filled it with soil. We hopefully will do that. Oh my God, there's such a spider web. Next season. But back here we have 4 IBC totes, yeah. 4 IBC totes. They're all connected together. And then down here we have our water pump system and our battery. So the rainwater is collected on the roof of the greenhouse. It goes into gutters into these IBC tanks. And this is, I mean, that's all rainwater. And it's been really good because we've never, I mean, we've had all the water we've needed. I mean, we've had a wetter summer, so that is helpful. But yeah, I think this is a good amount of water. We also have used this to water like the green stalks and some of the garden that we can reach here too. So our greenhouse is completely self-sufficient. It makes its own power and it has its own water. But that's basically all you need to run a greenhouse. We even have some lights hanging in here. It's a very simple off-grid system, but it's kind of this mini version, very, very mini version of what our house is. This is our green stock garden, and there's really just a bunch of volunteers growing right now because we grew beans. Do you see there's all these beans right here? That was just a volunteer. We grew beans in the spring, and there's just like some things. These carrots are, some of these are actually ready to harvest already. Casey wants me to pull this. Ew. Do you see that? No. It's an assassin bug. But it's not the, I don't think it's the kind. Yeah, the bad kind. Okay, anyway, we're gonna pick this. Jeez. Oh, that's nice.
That's the perfect carrot we've ever
That's a perfect carrot, most perfect carrot we've ever grown. It's nice because this is the original planter, so it's a deeper pocket. Greenstock has been having a warehouse sale, and you can get different colored planters. Not all of them are on sale, but certain colors are on major discount. And that sale actually ends today. So if you go to greenstock.com, you can use our code HeyWanderer and you get an extra $10 off of your purchase. But yeah, we love growing in these because you don't have to bend over to harvest. And we've actually not grown good carrots. So this is very encouraging. This is the entrance to the rose garden. We're not going to talk about the rose garden going there. It needs a lot of work. There are roses in there. Let's go this way. This fenced-in area is where we grew corn this year. The sweet corn we have never gotten to before the animals, so we ended up with a few, what are they called? A few ears this year. We should have had way more, but on the other half, we're growing popcorn and we're just waiting for it to be dry enough to harvest. It is there. We have the electric fence up. Fingers crossed that we get popcorn this year because I eat a lot of popcorn and it would be cool to have grown it ourselves. Oh, look at my carrots. This row right here is blueberries that we planted this year. So we're hoping that we can get a harvest off this next year. And then these are new strawberries that we planted. There's actually strawberries that need to be harvested right now. And this is where we grew garlic this year and it did really well. I planted carrots and as you can see, some of them are doing really well and I planted them in every hole. So I didn't do all the things that you do to make sure that they germinate right. Yeah, I let the water be up to the sky. So I didn't expect it to be so great, but I have like 18 carrots, I think, in here. And what will probably happen, which has happened before, is in the spring, more carrots will come up here. This last row, we planted raspberries this year. And honestly, the plants have looked terrible. They actually look pretty good right now. So we'll see how those end up doing next year. And the rest of this needs to be turned into garden beds, and we just haven't finished that project yet. But let's go to the prettiest part of the garden. I feel like our garden looks the best right now in the fall than it even did in the spring. I know spring is the time when flowers start blooming and you're like, this is so exciting. Right now we have a lot of flowers in here. This whole row is perennial flowers, and we still have some room to plant some things, but it is amazing if I do say so myself. So many flowers, and we also grew vegetables in here. Right now we have a bunch of peppers right here. We have some green onions, and over there we have kale and lettuce growing. We also have sweet potatoes growing. TBD on how that goes, how that harvest goes. The cats love this garden area because every row is raised. So even Hazel likes it because they walk in the pathway and they're lower than the garden is. So you'll look out here and just see like the top of a cat head walking through the gardens. They love hiding, and you can see one of them's in the peppers right now. If you were here in the early spring, we put this pond in and planted a bunch of little plants around here, which have clearly taken over. This is an aster. It just bloomed for the first time, and it's amazing. This variety is Radon's favorite. It started out, I'm not kidding, like this big, like this spring. So if you need a fast growing perennial that has a really pretty color in the fall, this would be a good choice. I think it's also native. Again, the different basils are taking over. This lemongrass back here, that's what that grass is. We planted for Johnny Rose because he loved lemongrass, and it was a little sprig when we planted it, and now it's this massive plant, and we need to try to do something, like cook something with that. And back here is a cover crop that we grew that has now turned into a crop. It is cowpeas, and we did literally nothing. Also, Casey cut them down, smothered them with a black tarp, and this is still producing beans. So we will probably try to harvest these and save them because that's nice.
This area we call daycare. It houses our cat house. This is Blair, one of our resident cats. And there is her. That is Sanford. Oh my gosh. Sanford and Blair are not necessarily the best of friends, but they basically want you to pay attention to them and them alone. Anyway, so this is the chicken coop over here and the chicken run. We used to just let the chickens out in this area, but we had a lot of predator issues. So they just stay in the run. If we're outside, we'll let them come out here in this run area so that we can monitor it. We have problems with foxes, raccoons, and hawks are our main problems. But their run is super predator proof. So it has hardware cloth on the bottom. It covers the entire thing. So really nothing can get in. If you want to see a video on how we built it, we do have that. The chickens are freaking out. I haven't done a great job of making them love me. So this is our third batch of chickens. I was with the first batch, petting them and making sure we were cool. That didn't happen with this group here. So they don't love me. One of the coolest features of really our whole system is that it is totally hands off. So I can leave the chickens for a week and they'll have enough food and water. The watering system is here. So we have, I'll show you outside, a 55-gallon rain barrel that collects rain, and then it fills up in these cups by gravity. and it's a great system. This feeder over here holds enough feed for at least 7 days for all of our chickens. But what's great about it is one of the big problems you have with having chickens is rodents. And what the whole purpose of the grandpa's feeder is that the chickens have to step on that for them to be able to get into it. And the weight of a mouse can't do it. When we were in the city, we had a rat problem, and when we got this, it fixed that problem. So that is one way to help if that is a problem for you. I'll show you inside the chicken coop and also where we get eggs. So this great big door is great because I can pull up a cart under here and then just scoop all the shavings in. Pretty easy to clean.
We're disturbing.
Sorry. Pardon me. This is the rain barrel that captures the rain from the roof. Very simple. So like, I'll show that down there. Down here, this is the PEX tube that needs to be mounted that provides water over there. And we also have this little spout. I'll use that to fill up the cat's water. If I just, for whatever reason, need water out here, it's nice to have. This is where the eggs go, if there were any. The cutest feature being this little tiny cat door and their little solar light fixture. It was built with a very similar design as the chicken coop. It's got this big door. We've gotten a lot of questions about our outdoor cats and their house and blah, blah, blah. I know outdoor cats is highly controversial. What I'll quickly say about that is all of our cats came from the streets. It was never an option for us to have cats indoors because our dogs hate them and the cats hate the dogs. So they are fixed, neutered, we feed them, they get all their vet needs taken care of, and their other alternative was to still live on the street. It's a lovely idea that there would be enough homes for all the cats out there on the street, but there aren't. So this is a happy medium, and they have a pretty cush life for barn cats. But I'll show you inside here. This is their sleeping loft, and you can see their 3 little beds, and they all sleep in their individual beds. We have this waterer that has a filter, and I'll change it out. Yeah, go up in there and show them. I have tried every kind of watering system for the cats that you could possibly imagine, and they really just like to drink out of a bucket outside of their house. But I always make sure they have water anyway. So how we do it, how I get them to come in here is I feed them every night and I give them wet food. And they learned that routine. I used to have to call for them to come. I don't even have to do that. They are waiting for me at night. And I lock them up at night because that is when, they are the most vulnerable. So I lock them up at night. We let them out in the morning, and it has been a very good system. We have had a few problems with raccoons getting in here and eating their food, because I have considered just letting them be free and they can go in and out whenever they want. But when I did that, raccoons and possums were coming in here and eating their food. And so I have to feed them and lock them up so they can eat all their food. And it's a system that works for us. We have been feeding a little kitten that is wild. and he or she is not interested in being my friend at all. I'm not really sure how it's gonna work. I do have an appointment to get him or her spayed or neutered, which is going to require a trap, catching it. So I'm gonna have to get a trap. That's gonna be interesting. But we do have quite a few unspayed cats and quite a few unspayed, unneutered cats in the area. So I'm just trying to do my part to reduce that. I am not really ready to take on another, but it just wandered onto our property. The kitty distribution system is in effect.
This is our wood shed where we keep wood. Clearly we need to restock, but we have a plan to move this kind of further back so it's not up here kind of blocking the view from the house to the chicken area to the sow shack. We just want it to be a little more hidden, and we also want to double the size of it. That is a project we're supposed to do this fall, so we'll see. If you have been following along on our most recent project, you would know that this is our sow shack. It is so close to being done. We're hoping to have a tour for you next Sunday, so make sure to tune in if you want to see what the inside of that looks like. But you can also go watch the other recent videos and you will just see what we've been working on. This is our Japanese maple garden, and with the exception of this crabapple tree, things have grown a lot this season. And I think that these juniper bushes next year are going to be massive. So I'll be curious to see how this goes over the years, but it goes all the way back here. And I mean, it's something that we really enjoy having. Also, this is Velvet Elvis. Very pretty. It has bloomed so much this fall. It looks really beautiful, but it's an annual, so we'd have to plant that again if we want to have it again.
So behind me is a little gravel pit that we have. It's just a level area for us to have a table for us to eat at and a fire pit. It is an extension of this awning we have, which is attached to our shed. So this awning originally was where we have our grill, our Blackstone. It's like supposed to be an outdoor kitchen. Right now, it is storing some building materials that can't get wet. It will eventually turn back into being an outdoor kitchen. And we have plans to build another one of those awnings on the other side of the shed that is strictly for like doing wood projects, storing wood, things like that. You know, get in line. It's one of the lists of a million projects we have. The solar panels are on top here, and basically this storage shed is where we store our batteries for our solar power system. This is sort of the hub of electricity for us. It is also where we store all of our tools and store a lot of things. This side is our stock tank pool, and it will soon be filled with leaves, and it's starting to already turn green, but it is definitely too cold to get in it right now. And then we have our elephant ear garden. It also has some cannas in there. This is honestly like one of my favorite plant features on our whole property. It is so pretty. I mean, you can see for yourself. Down these stairs, I am walking into the patio area, which is next to the stock tank pool. We have our 2 layout chairs. This is a very nice area where we can relax and hang out. I am now in front of our bathroom. This is our maybe most controversial thing on our property because it is outdoors. It is our only bathroom right now. We do shower in here year round when the weather is not below freezing. We do live in a climate where it doesn't get below freezing a ton. I mean, it does, don't get me wrong. February, January, parts of March, it's rough, but like in December, it could be 40 and we'll still be showering in here. Imagine it like you're in a hot tub and then you have to get out of the hot tub. That's what it's like. It's not the end of the world. Do we wish we had an indoor bathroom? Of course. Why didn't we build an indoor bathroom first? Because this cost about $200 to build, because this is wood this is leftover wood from when we got the trees on our property milled. And it is all just like very inexpensive materials. It also took not that much time. Savannah actually built it all by herself while I was injured. To build our indoor bathroom is going to take an eternity and cost a lot of money and be much more complicated. So that is why. But people really struggle with that. Let me show you inside. So this is our composting toilet. There is a urine diverter that goes underground and out into a gray water system. Then we have a bucket for the other stuff, and we just cover it in sawdust. It's really not a big deal. I wish I could get more people on board with composting toilets. It is a problem a lot of people have. But after 4 years of it, it's just not that big of a deal. This is our shower part. It is delightful. This is a wonderful showering experience. Savannah's brother came and stayed with us and showered here, and he was like, whoa, vibes. Because it is vibes. You'll see that there is completely open air. We did that because this is wood and we wanted it to air out and there not to be like a major mold problem. Lots of people on the internet were sure that this building was going to collapse and fall down and fall apart and be covered in mold. It's not. It is very free and open air. And the wood on the floor is deck boards. It'll probably need to be replaced one day, but after 3 years of having it, it's holding up great. Behind here is a propane water heater. It heats the water very nicely, and you have a nice hot shower. And this is the sink. Savannah made this sink. It was a dough bowl that we got at a flea market. It's a really simple system. I think people try to make off-grid much more complicated than it has to be. It absolutely can be. But a lot of our systems are very simple. It has its own separate water tank, which I'll show you. Not having one gigantic water tank is actually where pipes are going underground to all these different places actually makes everything so much easier. You don't have to deal with underground plumbing. And it is a little bit of a pain in some degrees, but it has made us be able to do what we're doing right now. It makes it more attainable to the regular Joe. We didn't have to rent a trencher or hire someone to run all this pipe or do all that of ourselves. Literally, we were able to put up this building, put a rainwater catchment on it, and start collecting rainwater and pump it into here. And the water systems are so simple. You just get this pump. It needs power. It's just that easy. It really is. I'll show you. This is the IBC tote. It has this hose that goes under here and it hooks to a water pump that is under there. And the only big thing is that water pump can't freeze. So that's why we drain it when it's gonna freeze. That's actually less of a problem than the propane tank. That's what really gets problematic if it freezes. This is what the water pump looks like. One side is the input, one side is the output. It needs electricity. Bob's your uncle, just like that.
So back here we actually have 2 cherry trees. Our orchard is way on the other side of the garden, but there wasn't room for more trees, so we found room over here for the cherries. And next to it is our composting bins. It's like the 3 system. It also opens up. You can put this wood under it and prop it up so that you can get to it more easily, or like let the rain get in or whatever. And then right over here, this is our outdoor tool shed awning thing. We are always like, what do we call this thing? But basically all it is a space where we can put all of our outdoor tools. like shovels and weeders. And we also have a bunch of T-posts over here that we aren't using at the moment. Just the kind of stuff that you use in the garden that you need a place for it. And in our shed, this will just be way hard to get to with all the other things that we keep in there. So this has been really good. I can definitely tell some things are missing, but it, for the most part, keeps stuff where we can find it. Because if you leave a shovel like in the garden row, you may never find it again. I mean, you eventually would find it, but there's been plenty of times where we're like, where's the post hole digger? Which I know where it is. It's not up here. But you're just like, I don't know. And then somebody remembers that they left it, you know, in a weird spot. So anyway, this is helpful and didn't cost very much to make. Pretty easy. And we have a whole video on making this if you want to watch that.
This is our clothesline. We're actually going to add another clothesline because inside of the sew shack is our laundry. That's a temporary location, but for now that's where it is. And I'd like to have a line that goes from there to far, far away so that I could just take the laundry out right from where the laundry is being done. I actually thoroughly love doing laundry this way. We do have a washing machine and a dryer. The dryer uses so much electricity. It's only a 120 volt dryer, but it still uses so much electricity that I really don't use it that much. But I enjoy the slowness of doing laundry this way. I can do it in smaller increments and it's just not so overwhelming. Big fan. Another project that I'm slowly working on is building walking paths in our woods. There's one on the other side of the property that was already here when we bought the land, and I'd like to connect them and just make some walking paths. Even though we live in the country, there's actually not a lot of good places to go for a walk. And so though our property isn't huge, I'd still like to be able to stroll through the woods. But our woods are pretty thick and there's a lot of briars. And so this summer I started kind of clearing this path because we were working on the sew shack, and I looked back here and I was like, there is just these trees lining this pathway. It was like perfect. And I literally spent like not that long clearing this little path, and now it has made me want to do it more.
And we will hopefully connect the two pathways somewhere in the woods together. But thank you so much for coming on the tour with us.
If you have any questions, I'm sure you will, leave it below.
And come back next week when we, hopefully, fingers crossed, are giving you a tour of our finished sew shack. And then we're moving on to much bigger projects. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.